Spendthrift Farm introduces for 2019 the Safe Bet program. Breed to a fourth-year stallion and watch his first crop of 2-year-olds have measurable success on the track in 2019, where you won't owe the stud fee when your foal is born. Visit spendthriftfarm.com/safebet for more. Spendthrift, the breeder's farm.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Keeneland Babies, presented by Spendthrift, the breeder's farm. Let's take a look at the field for the opening race on Wednesday's card at Keeneland. Of course, we're going 4.5 furlongs. It is a maiden special weight. $60,000 is the purse. And we have to congratulate our sponsor, Spendthrift. Their first crop stallion, Wicked Strong, represented by a winner last week at Keeneland, Nicole.
Yeah, his first starter was his first winner on Sunday as Secretly Wicked led home a freshman sire trifecta in Sunday's Keeneland Baby race, and finishing third was a filly by a fellow Spendthrift freshman in Palace. Spendthrift with a number of stallions this year in a very strong freshman sire class, which we'll see a lot of those freshmen represented in Wednesday's Keeneland Baby race.
And we will begin with the freshman sire as we take this field in post-position order. The number 1 is Senorita Guzman by Constitution, winner of the Don and Florida Derby. What are we to expect from this good young son of Tappet?
You know, Constitution, I could certainly see them running well as 2-year-olds because Constitution had brilliance. Tappet, a very good 2-year-old sire, that perennial leading sire, but Constitution could also carry his speed a distance, as you saw by his 2-turn wins in the Florida Derby and Don Handicap. I think he's got all of the makings to be a very good stallion, a very good physical from a stallion's family on both sides. But, I'm not really sure if they're going to win early or need a little bit more time. I think he's got, the potential for both there in his page.
This filly sold for $3,000 as a yearling. There is a lot of class and black type on the bottom of the family, but it seems like this female family really wanted to go long distances, sort of the 9 to 11 furlong route. And I wonder if 4.5 furlongs, even for a barn that has sent out nothing but live 2-year-old first-time starters at this meet, I wonder if this pedigree screams longer distances.
It might, especially, as I said, I do think the Constitutions could go either ways. I do like that this filly has got, a solid work tab underneath her. You mentioned the barn has been doing very well with solid priced horses this meet. And I do think that maybe Senorita Guzman could figure in your exotics at a price.
The number 2 is Johnny Unleashed. This is a gelding by Colonel John, who is solid with his juvenile debut runners, 11% winners. Johnny Unleashed sold for $10,000 as a yearling. The dam was a turf sprint winner. There is some precocity in this family. There is also a lot of turf on the bottom.
There is, and Colonel John was a horse who ran on a number of surfaces. I'm wondering if turf is ultimately where this one is going to want to be, all things considered. That being said, there is a lot of speed in the bottom side of the family.
The number 3 is Fed X-Man. This is an Oklahoma bred, and if you want to talk about speed, the sire Fed Biz doing very well with juvenile debut runners, winning at a 20% clip. The dam was a debut winner at 2, went on to win a stakes sprinting as a juvenile, and this dam has already thrown some nice runners as well. So a lot of speed in this pedigree.
Yeah, definitely. And, Fed Biz is a stallion I really like quite a bit. He was a very versatile horse who went a little bit shorter and a little bit longer, ran on a number of surfaces. He's a tremendous physical. I think he's imparted that physical ability to some of his foals. And he's really been sneaky good with some of his 2-year-olds and debut starters.
FedEx Man, a $32,000 weanling, bought back for $19,000 as a yearling, going out for a barn that's gotten off to a quick start in 2019. The number 4 is Merchants of Cool. This is one of 2 entered in here by the great Wesley Ward. $10,000 yearling by Trap Shot, solid with his 2-year-old first-time starters. Lot of speed on the bottom of the family. Family of champion sprinter lost in the fog. And Ward's record with these horses just speaks for itself. He's something like 11 for his last 17 or 18 with 2-year-old first-time starters going 4.5 furlongs at Keeneland.
Yeah, and you mentioned Lost in the Fog, champion sprinter, really brilliant horse with a lot of heart. Trap Shot by Tappet, does well with his 2-year-olds. Tap it kind of early in the point of his career where we're starting to see his Sunset Stud trap shot out there. Tap is our producing champion Monomoy girl from his first crop, and a few freshmen this year, including Constitution, who we've mentioned. So I think that's really going to be a storyline we'll be following in the next couple of years, is how Tap It begins to do as a sire of sires.
The number 5 is Baytown Vivy. This is a Tennessee-bred filly who was scratched the other day. Back in here against some colts, $7,500 yearling buyback by Revolutionary, who's gotten off to a good start with his 2-year-old first-time starters. There is a little bit of speed on the bottom of this pedigree. I wonder if this filly needs a race.
Yeah, I think she might. She did scratch out of that Sunday spot when, the track did come up wet. Could have been one reason in favor of this spot, where she catches a little bit of a shorter field, but I think a very evenly matched field. Revolutionary, as you mentioned, does well with his 2-year-old first-time starters. Revolutionary by Champion Juvenile Warpath, so that's not really a surprise.
The number 6 is Alec and Arthur, and there's a lot to like here for this son of successful appeal, who for many, many years has sent out precocious 2-year-old after precocious 2-year-old. The Dam was a sprint winner at 2. She has already foaled 3 stakes winners, albeit on turf and synthetic. But if you go deep in this family, there is nothing but class. Speed and class, and a good trainer as well with John Hancock.
Yeah, John Hancock, another trainer who does very well with his 2-year-old first-time starters at Keeneland. And I really like Alec and Arthur's work tab here. We've mentioned that I really like in some of these races the horses who have been working at Keeneland, that little bit of experience edge with the environment, when they are so evenly matched as first-time starters. And this one's really got some fast moves at Keeneland, including a couple of 4-furlong works. The most recent work, 4 furlongs from the gate, was 3rd fastest of more than 100 at the distance on a very busy morning at Keeneland. I think this one's going to have some foundation in him with those 4 furlong moves and looks ready to come out running.
The other Wesley Ward trained entrant is your morning line favorite. That's the number 7, Champaign Affair, a filly taking on the boys. We don't worry about that situation with Wesley Ward, who has won with that move many times. Let's talk about Daredevil, a first crop sire who was very precocious in his own right.
Yeah, Daredevil, a grade 1 winner going a 1-turn mile as a 2-year-old. Daredevil is by More Than Ready, of course, a very good 2-year-old sire in his own right, with a couple of breeders juvenile turf winners to his credit. Daredevil, another horse who, when I looked at him, about a year into his stud career when these stallions really let down, another one where I said, wow, what a tremendous physical on this horse. If he can pass that along to his offspring, he'll be doing very well. And you mentioned Wesley Ward with a filly taking on the boys. I do want to interject because it's come up a couple of times. That's something that I don't worry about with Wesley Ward, and it's something I kind of don't worry about at this point of the year at all. At this point of the year, if you have a fast developing filly, I think it's more about having, a precocious horse rather than their gender. I think a little bit later in the year, it becomes more unusual to see a filly take on the boys. But right now, I think horses are pretty even across the board.
This one, a $27,000 buyback as a yearling. The Dam also fast early, winner of the career debut. We complete the field with the number 8, Karaoke Night. This one by Breeders' Cup Mile winner Karaoke, and there is a lot of turf on the bottom of this family. I have a feeling 4.5 furlongs is going to be a little short. I have a feeling that this horse will eventually thrive going longer on the dirt.
Yeah, I do think this one is going to find... Yeah, I followed you, Dan. I do think that this one is going to find a home on the turf eventually, not just because of the sire, but as you mentioned, a lot of turf in the female side of the family. Karaoke, a very interesting stallion to me, standing at Gainesway after, he was a multiple Group 1 winner in France, came over here and won the Breeders' Cup Mile. He does have, he was born in Japan, raised in France, but he's got a lot of lines that will be familiar to American breeders. He's by the Stormcat stallion Bernstein. He's out of a mare by Sunday Silence, who, of course, went on to become a breed-shaping sire in Japan, standing his entire career there. Karaoke's pedigree fascinates me. I think he offers a lot of opportunity for American breeders, with some of these turf races that have been added to the mix, like the additional juvenile turf races at the Breeders' Cup, the Belmont Derby and Oaks, part of that new turf triple series in New York. So I am going to be very interested in watching Karaoke's runners in the years to come. But right now, going 4.5 furlongs on the dirt, I don't think this is going to be the spot for them.
I'm with you. Louisiana bred didn't attract much attention at public auction. Okay, we kick off the 50-cent pick 5 with the opening race at Keeneland on Wednesday. Who do you like?
I'm feeling awfully chalky here, unfortunately. Of the Wesley Ward horses, I do think Champaign Affair, the morning line favorite. I really like the way that one looks. Speed on both the top and the bottom by that freshman sire in Daredevil. Alec and Arthur from the John Hancock barn, I think might offer a little bit of value. And as I said, I really love the work tab there.
I'm curious to see what the other Ward horse, the Merchants of Cool, does. Again, this one by Trap Shot from the family of Lost in the Fog. I guess that one would be my top selection in this race. Maybe a little bit more value than the filly that should take some money for the folks at WinStar. I agree with you 100% with Alec and Arthur. I think that colt might be the value play, the son of successful appeal. Maybe even Fed X-Man. We can sneak into the single race exotics with some speed in the pedigree. Nice race to kick off the 50-cent pick 5 at Keeneland on Wednesday. It's Keeneland Babies, presented by Spendthrift.